Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace.
Well, today I'm going to be talking about getting off of our couch, our comfort couch, and stepping out into the world and living a big, wonderful, fabulous life that glorifies the infinite, the God that we are. I want to talk about living the life that we came here to live. And why would we want to do that? Why would we want to include more in our life? Because in the science of mind teaching, no matter what has been, what has gone before us, no matter how good it's been, there's always an opportunity for better. There's an opportunity for more of the infinite nature of spirit to express through us, by means of us, to express out into our life. We could have our lives include more love, to include more people, to more health, more vibrancy, to have more creative expression, more money, more abundance. There's lots of ways to glorify the infinite, to glorify God. And by stepping out off of our comfort couch and into the world, by widening our world even, that's one of the ways that we can do that, by just living large. Because really, the truth is, when your life works well, when it works really, really well, that glorifies God. And it's amazing to me that in each moment, we can act with wonderful, brilliant, great intelligence, or we can act unintelligently. That in a universe that's based on the principle of intelligence, because we have free will and choice, we can, at least in theory, act unintelligently. And when unintelligent thinking is functioning in our consciousness, what will show up as it'll show up as wrong conditions and wrong decisions and small and limiting. And as a result from wrong decisions, people limit themselves because they believe things, they start to believe things about themselves that are not true. And therefore, the conditions will appear and they start to experience stress and anxiety and quarreling and sickness. And that is so unnecessary. It really is. I believe it's just absolutely unnecessary in our life. Because when our mind is healthy and it's filled with healthy thinking, we don't make unhealthy decisions for ourselves. We just don't. We don't make unhealthy decisions that produce then unhealthy conditions in our life experience. We don't hide. When our mind is healthy, we don't hide behind drugs or alcohol or eating or shopping or false beliefs about anything about ourselves. Now, humanly, we might feel that we're limited. But here's the thing, the universe is not limited in any way. And where is that universe? The universe is not out here. It's just not. Because if you put the universe outside of you, that's just like saying that God, Spirit, the infinite intelligence, divine mind is outside of you. And you might as well go back to that God that you grew up with sitting on the throne. It's the same thing. The universe is everywhere. Bottom line, everywhere. So the universe is right where each of us is. The universe is within you, within me, within all. You were created by the infinite intelligence of the universe, truly. And therefore, you have to have, you cannot have, not have, that intelligence within you. You have to have that intelligence within you. It's there. It's right now. Always has been, always will be. And I think it's so interesting when people tell themselves, and we hear it again and again, and I know if we look in the mirror and get honest, we'll say, yes, I've done that. But people will say things like, oh, I'm so stupid. I can't believe that stupid thing I just did. I just do the dumbest things in my life. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I want to tell you right here and right now, no good will come of that. If you didn't know that already, you will never be more because you're saying those kinds of things to yourself. So stop it. Stop it right now. Cancel, cancel, cancel every time you come up with something like that. Stop it right in midstream. Don't do it. Because the spiritual component to that is, it's not true. It's not true about you. That is not a spiritual truth. You are a perfect, pure expression of the infinite. You are intelligent. You have the mind of God in expression right here and right now. See, trouble results when an unintelligent factor is introduced into a field of intelligent activity. Trouble starts when an unintelligent factor is introduced into an intelligent activity. When that happens, we start to worry, we start to hate, we start to get resentment, we start to be fearful, and we start doubting, and we are absolutely convinced of our unenoughness. And we've assumed, because we look around and we get support from the world around us, that this is normal, and that this is necessary, and this is part of life. And it's not. And I also want to tell you, we've talked about it before, that on the evolutionary ladder, on the spiritual evolutionary ladder, normal is not real high. Normal's kind of low on that spiritual ladder. And we don't want to be operating on the low end. We want to have an exceptional life. And just because everybody else on the planet can be having one kind of an experience, that doesn't mean that you have to. I hope you hear that. Just because other people are having an experience, it doesn't mean that you have to. You don't. All the sadness in the world cannot disprove a principle of joy that God, divine mind, has placed within you. All the lack in the world cannot disprove a principle of abundance that the infinite intelligence, God, has placed within you. All the seeming separation in the world cannot disprove a principle of love that God has placed within you. And because the health, the joy, the abundance, the love, and the self-expression, those things are actually spiritually the normal mode of life. Why? Because they exist as a possibility. They exist as potential within each and every one of us. The possibility already exists. But we can't go beyond our own self-accepted image of ourselves. And we all have an image of ourselves that we accept. We really do. And as long as you underestimate yourself, you'll never succeed in life in all the ways that you could, in all the degrees that you could. And people will jump on the bandwagon and they'll say, but, oh, my past, you don't know the mistakes I've made. You don't know how awful I was. I've done some horrible things. I wasted my life with drugs and alcohol. I ripped people off. I did not have a decent, wonderful life. Get over it, blanch. Get over it, blanch. You are not your past. You are not your past. You're really not. You are not your past. The past is past. The past brought you to where you are today. Bless that past. You are the present becoming the future. You are the present. You live in the present. And your present is creating your future. That's what we teach in the science of mind. You're not your past at all. You're the present becoming your future. You are the potential of the infinite mind, and the mind that is infinite knows only now. Doesn't know past, doesn't know future. It knows now. It doesn't keep records. It does not sit in judgment of you. And I think that's a fabulous thing to know, that God is not up there on the throne, sitting in judgment. Einstein tells us over and over again, you cannot solve a problem at the level of the problem. You must raise above it. And great thinkers have changed the world, and you are the great thinker of your life. You are the great thinker in your own world, just like I am in my world. So there's nothing to oppose you but your own subconscious patterns of not enough. Your own subconscious patterns of inferiority or frustration. There is nothing in your way but your own mind. So here would be a really fabulous, great thing for each of us to notice. Do you have an excuse? Do you have an alibi? A reason that you go back to all the time? Your own personalized, yeah, but? Because if you can be aware, if you have an alibi or a reason or an excuse that you go back to over and over, your favorite pet one, for why you do not grow or proceed or expand or heal in any area of your life, that's showing you something really important about your own subconscious mind. And that's what needs to be negated and healed and replaced with the spiritual truth. See, God, infinite mind, divine intelligence can only do for you by working through you. So God can only do for you what you do for you. This is basically what they meant in the Bible, where it says God helps those who help themselves. And I know we go to that place of, but I can't help it. It's just the way I am. Darling, if you can't help it, who can? I mean, really, stop saying those ridiculous things. If you can't help it, who can? I haven't noticed Sir Lancelot coming up yet, or the Lone Ranger trying to fix everything. It's time for us to wake up to this great fact of life, that you and you alone are responsible for your life. You and you alone are responsible for your thinking. See, problems hurt us, I believe. They limit our forward progress in life, because actually, they're not normal to who we are. They're unnecessary in our life. So the clue is, when we find ourselves in pain, mental, physical, psychological, we should want to remember, this is not natural to who I am as a spiritual being. I don't have to stay here. I don't have to stay in this. This is an experience that I'm having right now, but I can reshape this experience. If it's not the truth about me, through my own work in consciousness, I can dissolve any appearance there is. Because in science of mind, we're about knowing the spiritual truth. And we keep knowing the spiritual truth, and we keep knowing the spiritual truth, and we keep knowing the spiritual truth until we are free from whatever untruth has been going on in our life. And we don't have to blame anyone for it. It's a waste of time to do that, you know? We don't have to blame ourselves even. Nothing good is going to be coming from blame. Yeah. I look at the life of Jesus. And Jesus was one master teacher who was absolutely not interested in what was going on in the past. And to the psychological stuff and whatever. He didn't go up to people and say, well, I'm going to heal you, but first I want you to take an MMPI. And first I want to do a history on your family of origin. Were you loved, cherished, and adored by your family? Did you feel valued and validated when you grew up? Was your father emotionally available to you? He didn't do any of that stuff. You know, didn't care whether you felt special growing up. He wasn't interested in any of it. He just said, heal. It's like that story of the man that was sitting by the pool, or laying by the pool of Bethesda. And he had been going there for years to the healing waters of Bethesda. And he had all these wonderful, wonderful spun reasons for why he wasn't healing. And he'd been going there for so many years, so he knows everybody else around the pool. And they've been laying around there too, trying to get healed, you know. And they sort of have this little camaraderie thing going on. And they all say to each other, it's kind of like a little club, and says, oh dear, I know why you can't be healed. It's all about this. You should be taking this medicine and doing this. And I know why you can't be healed. And I know why things don't get better for you, dear. You know, oh yeah, you're right. And you're a mess too. And they just had all of these people sitting around supporting each other, and they're not healing. It's not a stretch of the imagination to think that was going on by the healing waters of Bethesda. It's going on in our life too. But then all of a sudden Jesus comes up and he just says to the guy, pick up your bed and walk. He was the Nike man of the time. Just do it. Arise, pick up your bed. And the man did. And instantly he was cleared and cured of years of negativity, years of negative thinking, limited thinking, not enough thinking, years of worrying, years of defeat. We can do the same thing. We can do the same thing. And when we recognize that, I am the intelligence of God in action. God is within me now, absolutely perfect right now, that all this other stuff does not define who I am, then we're going to heal. Because I think that all forward movement, all improvements, stems and starts from seeing yourself as greater than you are. And I think that's true in every area of our life, because when we do that, when we see ourselves as greater than we are, the infinite potential that's within each and every one of us gets all stirred up. And our creative capacities sort of start to unfold and rise up into expression into our life. It's like, it is so fabulous and sunny out there today. It really is. It's a beautiful sunny day. And yet, if you go out there and stand in the shadow, you can't be blaming the sun for not shining on you. And there's people that do that. Oh, the sun's not shining on me. Well, get out of the shadow. And we would say in Science of Mind is that the problem, whatever it is an obstruction in our thinking. That we're not letting in the light, the love and the energy of God. We're not letting in that wonderful light and love and energy. We're not letting it flow through us in the way that life really works. Divine intelligence has never created a problem for any one of its creations. Yet we'll say to ourselves, well, this must be my cross to bear. God must want this for me. It's here in my life for a reason. It's a cop-out. It's a cop-out. You just don't want to take the time. You don't want to take do the work to get rid of it. Divine intelligence has never created problems for any of its creations. Bottom line. Like the sun, it is always shining. That's what divine intelligence always does. That's what God is doing. Jody always tells us, our practitioner Jody tells us, there's no spot where God is not. God is like the sun, and the sun is always shining, just giving of itself fully and completely, unaware of any misuse that we may be making of it. So we simply have to change our thinking. We have to change and shift our attention and focus from the problem to the perfection of God that's everywhere and within each and every one of us. We take responsibility. We step out of the shadow, into the sunlight, into the truth. That's our job. That's our only job. And people say, well, it's too easy. That is just way too easy. It couldn't possibly be that simple. Otherwise, everybody would be doing it. Shouldn't it be more complicated and more profound and more steps to it? Well, the many great spiritual teachers who have been here before on the planet have not come and taught a really difficult spiritual teaching. They haven't. They taught very, very simple things that, done with consistency, they would change and transform and heal our lives. There was a huge realization to me when I realized that people with 15 degrees on their walls and PhDs, and really, really smart people with these huge libraries and information at their disposal, it was huge to me that these smart people had problems too. I thought that was extraordinary. I had a belief that when you were smart, you just didn't have any problems. I was wrong. Everybody has problems when you start believing on truths about yourself, bottom line. And there is, I want you all to hear this, there is nothing wrong with your life working fabulously well. There's nothing wrong with having whatever you want. There's nothing wrong with perfect health. There's nothing wrong with fabulous abundance. There's nothing wrong with wonderful, loving, harmonious relationships. There is nothing wrong with fabulous creative expression in your life, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. But as long as you're thinking and focusing on and feeling and continuing to focus on what you do not want, what is not working in your life, your mind is going to continue to create your own sort of private hell on earth. Do you want that? We need to just give our full attention, our full commitment to our life. Because I believe if we're half-hearted in any field, any area of our life, we will accomplish very, very little. And if you're in a relationship right now and you participate in that relationship in a half-hearted sort of way, you're not going to have much of a relationship. And I don't think we'll be celebrating 50 years with you. And if you're in a job that maybe you don't just absolutely love right now, and you say, well, this is certainly not my perfect job, so I'm only going to give myself half of myself to this job, you're not going to have much of an experience of fulfillment of that job. It's true that absolutely everything, and it's true about everything and anything. If we participate in a half-hearted way, we're going to accomplish very little. And people say things to themselves like, and I catch myself, Jody's very good, our practitioner Jody's very good. She'll slap me upside the head. She'll say things when I say, well, the fact is, I love that, the fact is, because I want to remind you as I remind myself, a fact is something that's out here. A fact is out here. It's not something that's in here. A fact is never a spiritual truth. Yes, there's information. There are things happening on the earth plane, but they are not the spiritual reality. They are not the big R reality. Just because something's a fact doesn't make it a reality. Get off the fact box. And let's start remembering that there is one basic mental law that we talk about in Science of Mind all the time. That what you place in your subconscious mind must appear in your experience. Bottom line, what you, and only you, place in your subconscious mind must appear in your experience. You can't think, talk, feel negatively over a period of time and have positive experiences maintained in your life. You just can't. Not going to work. Jesus said it very simply, you cannot get figs from thistles. Simple. Paul referred to it as reaping and sowing. See, who each of us is so much greater than what we let ourselves think. We came here to live life large, to express good, to express a lot of good, to express a lot of God. We each need to remember that who we are is absolutely perfect. We are the intelligence of God in action. And we need to remember what we came here to do. And we need to have the courage to get off of our couch, to get out of our fear-based box, and have the courage to live life large. You hold the key. It's in your mind. Start living the life you came here to live. And so it is.
So it is.